Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today we have a knife review. And this one is pretty cool. It's this one. This is the Kershaw Reverb XL. The Kershaw Reverb XL. So pretty cool looking knife. Yeah, really interesting looking blade. And it is a larger version of the original Reverb. Not exactly the same to scale, but we'll talk about some of those things. Yeah, as we go on. So we'll go over the overall specs and everything else as always, and then we shall get into it. So the overall length is 7.25 inches. The blade length is 3 inches. The blade thickness is 0.11 inches thick. The handle length is 4.25 inches. The handle thickness is 0.4 inches thick. The overall weight of this knife is 2.31 ounces, so it is light. And it has a G10 carbon fiber laminate G10 handle scale, as well as a stainless steel handle scale. So, getting into this knife right off the bat, very stylized, interesting looking knife. And I guess maybe I should just talk about the other one first. So this is based off the Kershaw Reverb that came out, I think, a year or two ago. And that was a black G10 carbon fiber laminate knife. And it basically mimicked some features from some other knives. The one knife specifically that I can mention is the Buck Apex, which was voted my best backpacking knife overall, and mostly because it has this carabiner clip here in the handle scale, and I'll go over that feature in a sec. But it's all fairly similar. But anyways, the Reverb, I guess people felt were too small, and they wanted something a little bit bigger, and Kershaw decided to increase the size. Now, this doesn't look exactly like the original Reverb. Mostly the original Reverb has a little bit more of a Warncliffe or sheep's foot blade. And then the G10 carbon fiber laminate was kind of the same. The overall locking mechanism is the same. It's a little bit different here too in the tail end. I mean, there is some differences. Overall, the actual opening deployment method is fairly similar as well to the original Reverb. Size-wise, though, it's just a half-inch longer in the blade length and a half-inch longer, more or less, in the handle, so an overall inch larger. Weight-wise, the original Reverb, it was under 2 ounces, and this Reverb is like 2.13 ounces or something. So it's just over 2 ounces. Okay, so let's start like normal. Going into the blade shape, as you can see, this is a very swooping blade, very thin, hollow grind knife. It has an ever so continuous curve along the blade. Plain edge blade, it does kind of drop slightly, almost like a Warncliffe, but not like a sharp Warncliffe, just like a drop point. And you have this swoop up top as well. You have a milled out area, and that kind of gives you a sharper edge for your fingers to grip onto when deploying the knife. On the back side of the blade, you have the 8CR13 MOV blade steel, and it is a Chinese production model. I do like that there is kind of a ricasso here, allows you to sharpen the full length of the blade, and it does come to a very fine point. So it's definitely not meant for prying because you will be able to break the tip off fairly easy. That's how it sits closed on either side. And to open it, like I said, you just hold it like normal, but you have to really kind of dig in. And sometimes this isn't really the sharpest area, at least on this specific one I got. It might be sharper on others, but I kind of have to really kind of press into it just to get traction, which I feel will kind of make it off center. See how I'm doing that? Just to get traction. So, I mean, it's a cool design. It makes it look cool, but I think just having a thumb hole or a thumb stud would have been better in some ways. But it is deployable. You know, I can get it in there. And with practice, you actually get a little bit more efficient with it. Moving into the handle then, I will say, since I just deployed it, it's basically a frame lock, but it's shaped inside. So you actually have this protective bar here, which means that when you grip the knife, it won't be messing with the actual lock bar. So yeah, which is kind of neat, and that was similar to the original Reverb as well as the Buck Apex. So you just press in, boom, it opens up. There's no like deep finger choil or anything, or jimping, so the potential of sliding up from the handle onto the blade is fairly easy, and so don't think about thrusting with this knife at all. So now back into the handle, you do have this cool like divoted pivot pin there. The handle is a cool kind of gray blue color, and you can see the carbon fiber laminate over the top that runs along the length of the handle scale. Yeah, I really like this color. I'd be down for getting a knife in this color. And as you can see, it's a very boxy kind of cutout for you to deploy the lock bar. And also inside there, I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick it up, but it does say the Kershaw branding there, printed in there. Other than that, the carabiner clip area is exposed from the G10 scale, and the whole carabiner is made from the stainless steel side. So you have like a little lanyard hole. You have the carabiner clip, which is just a wire carabiner, and then you can see where the lock bar goes in. It's smooth on the backside, no texture, and torque bits, torque screws hold the scale to the stainless steel scale. Now, one big win for this is the pocket clip. I do really like this pocket clip. It was really stiff and tight when I first got it, so I actually had to kind of loosen it up. But it's very thin and surprisingly robust feeling. There's some Kershaw branding on it, and it sits very deep carry. And I think you potentially could reverse this, though I haven't tried it. But it looks like you might be able to fit it into that recessed area there. But I could be wrong, so it might just be a tip-up right hand carry. And then two, I think it has bronze phosphorus washers in there as well. So, all right, moving on. I am sucking wind with this one. Let's compare it to some other knives. We have our Delica. We have our mini grip. We have our Skyline, and then we have our SOG XR, Terminus XR. As you can see, this knife is definitely the longest out of them. Looks like 3 1/4 inches overall. Maybe the same as the Skyline. Handle width wise, it's pretty long, about the same as the Skyline as well. Looking at blade thickness, we have looks about the same between the Delica. Handle wise, it looks like the Reverb is a little bit thinner. Bugga, or the Benchmade mini grip. The mini grip is thicker in both ways. Weight wise too, it's heavier. Against the Skyline, pretty similar. I think the handle thickness is thinner on the Reverb, but blade stock's pretty much the same. And And then in the RX, RX is Terminus XR, I mean, is thicker in everything. Cool to have blue and red color. Alright, so now the last test is the ugly brown glove test. I will say the performance of this knife did work good for slicing some things. It's a little awkward though. Ooh, ugly brown glove is struggling. Can't get a grip. Oh, there I got it. That's kind of a huge ding there. Grip wise, actually this cutout kind of does work as a finger choil. I can fit my finger in there, and because the curve of the handle and the pocket clip and that open part there, I can actually kind of get a grip a little bit. Sliding forward, not much, so it's kind of worrisome, but enough, I guess. Unlocking's easy. Deploying is kind of a struggle. I really have to press down with my thumb to get that lock. So, man, I don't know. And obviously the carbon fiber is slick. The G10 really isn't textured that much, so the overall ergonomics of it is what kind of keeps it in my grip. But that being said, this it's not the most comfortable thing just because it's kind of awkward and fairly thin. So it's not one you're going to want to do a ton of hard work with. Plus, the blade steel could always be better, but it's functional. This would make a good camping knife or backpacking knife, and I'll say that again in a sec. But does it pass the ugly brown glove test? Barely. I mean, I can open it, I can deploy it. It has enough grip. I would definitely say like a C minus. Actually, we'll say a D plus on the ugly brown glove test. Is D plus pass? Fine, we'll say C minus. C minus, ugly brown glove test. All right. C minus, ugly brown glove test. All right, so, who's this knife for? I think this knife for anyone who loves Kershaw's, wants a budget-friendly knife that doesn't take up too much real estate in the pocket. Like I said, I do dig this pocket clip. It works great. So if you want it deep in the pocket, you could go for that. 2, if you want a slicier blade specifically for like cutting up apples or something at lunch, and that's what you're going to do. I mean, you might really prefer that. If you're looking for something quick that you just want to pull out quick and open, it's kind of long, so it wouldn't be the best like urban EDC. As a backpacking knife, heck yes, this would definitely work. It's very light. You can just clip this onto your pack, and it doesn't take up a ton of room. So it would work in that extent for opening up freeze-dried meals. For doing any sort of wood carving stuff, the blade's just not designed for that. So don't use it in that capacity. But definitely looks cool. Definitely a cool looking piece. So, all right, guys. So there you have it. That is the Reverb XL by Kershaw. It's under $30 at the time of this video. I'll leave links in the description below to up-to-date prices. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the other videos over here. Click the subscribe button. Check the eye in the upper right-hand corner if I have anything up there. Thank you guys, and I'll see you outside. Peace.